Hey, happy Sunday. This is PFG Live, the podcast dedicated to the writings of internet philosopher Hey Man, why didn't you? Who asks, hey man, why didn't you just wait until spring to shovel all that snow? Good idea. Welcome aboard. We got a good crowd in the Discord server, a bunch of guys coming in on the YouTube chat. It's good to be back after 2 weeks. Missing it. So what do we got here? Evils is first up. Ghent, Belgium has 21.0 degrees in the workshop. Welcome aboard there, Evils. Warren Jones in Sutton, New Hampshire says it's sunny, breezy, 4 degrees Fahrenheit. And to paraphrase Dr. Evil, it's frickin' freezing up here, Mr. Billsworth. Bill Olney in Rome, New York says it's up to 9 Frankenstein and sunny. Dale in the Edmonton, Alberta says it's 38 degrees Science, 3 degrees Frankenstein, and sunny in what is normally Hoth. But my weather went on vacation and decided to hang out down south for a while. Sorry. Well, not really. Thanks, Dale. Josh says at Charlie Yankee Whiskey Golf, it is winds 170 at 13, gusting 22, visibility 15 statute miles, overcast 1300, temperature minus 04, dew point minus 09, altimeter 29er, and the remarks are unreadable. Warren Jones and my neighbor to the north, let's see. Oh, he gave his thing already. DBX in Frosthaven, New York. Says it's 11 Frankenstein right now. And by the way, here in the Windham, the National Weather Service is reporting 14 degrees Frankenstein. I'm measuring 12. Thank you very much. Popping over to the YouTube guys, who do we have here? We have Carl Tauber checking in from the People's Republic of Rhode Island, where it is 4 degrees and sunny. Where's that 14 degrees? 14 degrees and sunny. Nate Cranmer says it's 67 degrees Fahrenheit. 67 degrees Fahrenheit in Las Vegas. Sunny conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 7 miles an hour. You're pushing it here, Nate. Dave G says it's 20 degrees and sunny with the pressure of 30.5, wind 6 miles an hour, dew point 5 degrees in northwest Ohio. Welcome aboard, sir. The Plate Pringler is with us from Strasburg, Ohio, where it is 20F and sunny. If that was C, it would be standard. Tucker is checking in from Buffalo, New York, where it is 7 degrees Frankenstein and sunny with some clouds, occasionally very bright. Let's see, who am I missing here? Mr. Tim Beatty, welcome aboard, sir. 80 degrees and sunny in Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome, sir. The Unix Carbide in the Brooklyn, New York says freezing. Yeah, it's cold. Right now, the Manchester airport's reporting 310 at 17 knots, visibility 10 miles. Sky is scattered at 13,000, scattered at 25,000, temperature minus 11, dew point minus 21, altimeter 29er, And let's see, what else? I sent my honorable wife off on a trip today out of Boston Logan Airport, actually. So, did we get everybody so far? Okay, community notes. Might as well get into community notes here. Evil says, don't throw away used high-speed steel. It's good stuff. And if nothing else, it can be used as hard-facing filler. I'll tell Warren that. He'll need to know that. Let's see. Mr. Iron Man, are you able to send us some video? Do you want to send us some video out the back window? If you are, just pop up on the video here, and we'll get you going. Let's see. In the meantime, here's some. Oh, we have a live report. Hold on. We have a live report from Tuck's Garage in Buffalo, New York. You're muted, but your video is outstanding. And there's the white stuff in Buffalo. Now, we think that Buffalo gets all the snow, but Tucker is telling me that this is the most that he's ever had in Buffalo at his location, which I think is pretty cool. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. There we go. Live. That was live from Buffalo, New York. we had, so it's been a couple of weeks here, as you are no doubt aware. When we last met our heroes, I canceled the PFG.Live because I was coughing. And little did I know that was the beginnings of something great. Dale says, "Hey, there's where my weather went." Yes, it did, sir. So the coughing turned into the flu. Now, the thing I thought was pretty cool. Let's see if I could find it here. We have these electronic test kits in our stock here, in our inventory, and I was able to finally use one of these electronic testers. So this is one of those things for testing viruses. I'll show you a picture of it here. And the neat thing is that it uses a pretty fancy little engine in it that runs on 2 AA batteries. A nose swab goes around swabby in the nose, and then it goes into that blue fluid that you could see on the top. And you push it down, and it starts a lab test that takes 30 minutes. And then at the end of 30 minutes, it turns on the lights. Now, that's what mine showed, but this happened to also be my gift to my son. So we basically both shared Flu A. What a joy. So Flu A is what I had. And between the flu and the Snowpocolypse, we were down for two Sundays in a row. So it's good to be back, and I appreciate you guys all being here. The report from the Flat Cave is I had recently. I joke about how the spreadsheet runs my business, and I just work for the spreadsheet. And then recently I kicked up the minimum stock levels in a couple of the stone categories because they're the most common ones, and it needed a little more buffer. This was a good idea because during this period I was able to hang in there and not delay anybody's deliveries because I was sick or because of the Snowpocolypse. And right now we're playing catch up. So we've got 6-inch stones in the pipeline. I think we have 10 sets, and they should be out the door in the next couple of days, or ready to go out the door, and we'll be caught up. So that's the report from the Flat Cave. Otherwise, everything is good. Let's see. As I was working in the shop yesterday, I was talking to Dale, who's here. And I was talking to Unix Carbide, who's here, and I was, the CNC machine was running, and I had finished doing making some canutes for the inventory, and I'm like looking around for something to do, and I said, I should check the dates on my CNC machines for the batteries. CNC machines have the weirdest history with batteries is you have to have battery backup on your CNC machines. Otherwise, you're going to lose your parameters, and the world is going to come to an end. So sure enough, my mill and sorry, I have to say this, John, my lathe were both overdue for batteries. So I was able to putter around and get new batteries and everything, and we were good. Let's see. We just got a check-in from Scott at Flat Rock Manufacturing. You're in the right place. Who reports that Kilo Alpha Papa Charlie is 220 at 4 knots, visibility 10 miles in fog, overcast at 200. That's a low ceiling. Temperature 11, dew point 11. Duh. Altimeter 3033. Welcome aboard, Scott. So that's the overview from the Flat Cave. Everything's been pretty solid, and it's good to be back in the swing of things. The one thing that could have been better during the Snowpocolypse was the snowblower. The snowblower was in desperate need of love. So that's got to be taken care of, and that is behind as far as maintenance is concerned. And that's a shop tool. Why is it a shop tool? Because if you can't get out, you can't take stuff to the post office, you can't deliver product, you can't receive product. So we're going to take that apart, I think, this spring, and give it a new clutch mechanism, new other stuff. I mean, we have a machine shop, right? We should be able to do this, but I'm not going to try to do that. I'm not going to try to do that right now. Boo boo. Of course, you could like Hey Man, Why Didn't You said, you could always just leave all the snow for the spring, and it wouldn't be so bad. So, I bought my mom a book. No evils. I do not keep 2 years worth of input inventory. It's actually, it's on the order of a 1 week ish. In some cases, you could say it's a 2 weeks worth of capacity going down the pipeline. I don't want a lot of inventory because that takes up space. Now we're going to start talking about clutter credits, and we don't have room for that stuff. So I saw this book go by, and I bought it for my mom. It's called The Fabric of Civilization, How Textiles Made the World. And it's really cool because my mom is very much into quilting and all of the textile arts. It's still going strong at 92. So anyway, I got her this book, and I'm flipping through the book. And of course, what do we find in here? We find the story of how the first CNC machines were actually looms that were being controlled by punch cards, or what we would call punch cards today. But later in the book, I find that the making of magnetic core memory was considered, a sewing / weaving technique. And then they have pictures in here of magnetic core memory. So it was really funny, the crossover, when I thought I was buying my mom this really cool book on fabrics. And we're in there. It's all in the same place. Core memory, dude. Exactly correct. So, Mom, your book is coming. We'll take care of you. It was going to be a surprise, but, can't always keep those surprises. Unix Carbide says, core memory, another reason not to have magnets laying around willy-nilly. It is not lost on me, Unix, that you were able to use the M word instead of the code word. Okay? I'm very proud of you. Come a long way. Okay, so let's see. I don't think we have any significant community notes. If you guys have any community notes, you could pop them up there. I think we did a good job. Oh, Machined Creations is here. Welcome aboard, sir. He says, the weather is beautiful in Idaho. Outstanding. Well, that's because we pre-filtered it for you. I have to say, though, the sun is shining. I took some nice pictures this morning, one of which ended up in our thumbnail, and now you understand where that came from. So let's see. Oh, I have a funny story. So as I was healing from my crud, I decide I'm going out. I'm doing stuff. I'm going to the post office. I am going through the motions, but because I was still coughing a little bit, I put an N95 mask on, and then I put a black fabric mask over that, and then I pulled on my black wool cap, over that. So you got this picture, okay? Black masked up, black wool cap. Grab my basket of stuff for the post office, and I get in the truck and I drive over to the post office. And as I'm walking in, I'm kind of saying to myself, yeah, Bill says robbing a post office. I said to myself, boy, I look a little bit shady here. So I go into the post office and I get in line, and there's one person in front of me, and I'm waiting, and I kind of notice a couple come in the front door of the post office and get in line, behind me, and I don't think anything of it, and I'm wearing my disguise here, and all of a sudden I hear, "Spencer, is that you?" And it was the founder of Kumo Sushi and husband, who recognized me through all of my disguises. I could not hide from Cindy, who has served this face more sushi than you could shake a stick at. And I just started laughing. I'm like, yeah, there aren't many people who would just immediately recognize me. Yeah, Tucker says, you have a problem when. Exactly correct. So I couldn't escape that. That was just hysterical. And I just started going through I'm gonna do normal things, and I immediately started feeling better. But that was absolutely hysterical. And if you come visit me, I'll take you to Kumo Sushi. Warren's here. Warren's been there with me. What else is going on? Let's see. If you see me hitting a button here and coughing, that's because I'm hitting a button here and coughing. So I made an arrangement. I talked to a guy about a thing. He's not here right now, but I bought a Freddy. So the full story another day, but basically, one of the guys in our community was going to be trading up. And if he was here, I would ask his permission to tell the whole story, but we'll do it when it comes in. And I said, well, what are you doing with the old one? Because it was a Freddy Micro. Yeah, thank you very much, Tucker. It's the Freddy, I think it's called the Freddy Microvac. It's a 50 liter capacity Freddy, right? And I have a coolant tank on the mill. I have a tiny coolant tank on the lathe. I have a coolant tank on the grinder, which is pretty significant. And I want to start getting those things clean. And I realized that it was going to be a real pain in the neck to do it in some sort of hack way. So I said, I'm going to look into getting a Freddy. So I started talking to Dale and others who have Freddys or similar. And Dale convinced me that I can get by with their smallest one, the tiniest one, and we talked about that. And then this thing popped up, and I'm like, yes, let's do this. So that happened. Money has exchanged hands, and a effectively reconditioned unit is on its way to me in the not too distant future. It's no rush, but this spring I should have a Freddy, and I should be doing all my coolant tanks, and I'm very excited about that. So that's a maintenance issue that I think is very important. In the bottom of my coolant tank for the grinder, I expect to find some potentially nice polishing compound that has evaded capture by the filtering system. So there may be some very fine polishing compound down there. So let me know if you're interested. We'll bottle it up and have to give it a name. But that's coming soon. And I have to say that the folks that I was dealing with at Freddy were just super nice, and I'm very happy to be getting this done. In other projects that you've been following, I need to build a bigger monochromatic light source system for a bigger optical flat for a bigger workpiece, as you are no doubt aware. So we have 8-inch laps now. I have an 8-inch optical flat. I need a big light source. But also I'm going to be putting a camera integral with that system so that I can feed measurement video to software such as DFT Fringe. DFT Fringe is an open source software package for analyzing fringe images and then generating some numbers from it. And I've used it successfully, but I want a dedicated station for that. So we started talking a few weeks ago. We were talking about the aluminum extrusion material, which I'm showing here on the video, as a basis for building such a station. But then I realized I just got to hack something up real quick. So I actually have a light table downstairs that's about 30, I'm going to call it 24, it might be 24, it might be 30 inches by 30 inches. And I'm going to, I think I'm going to convert it to the monochromatic light source based on low pressure sodium lamps. So that's sort of underway, but I'm going to do a P1 on this thing and just kind of jury rig it. The second thing I need is a camera, which is going to be dedicated to that system. So if any of you guys have any specific suggestions, you let me know. But I did a little research this morning on cameras. In particular, a high-quality USB camera. I kind of want to get something that uses the C-mount lenses so that I could change out lenses if I think I need a longer lens. But again, for the first go around, I believe I'm going to use a pretty standard camera. So that's going to feed directly into the computer. But what I wanted to show you is what the low pressure sodium light looks like. So Evil is suggesting some of the better Raspberry Pi cameras. I actually want a fully self-contained camera, and I guess I could show you this. Yeah, I got enough. So this is an Anker. There's an Anker webcam type camera. It could be something like this. This, in fact, may serve as the first go around. But I'd prefer to get something more industrial and something that uses a standard lens that I could change out, and something that doesn't have audio in it, and I'd prefer something that doesn't have autofocus in it. So we're working on all of these things. But I promised a couple of guys in Discord that they're going to see a little physics today, and I'm going to show you the first kludge of the low pressure sodium lamp live. Are you ready? Everybody ready? Put on your safety squints, and if you look, let's see, which way do I go? No, this way. No, this way. There we go. Right there. If you're watching video, you're lucky. Okay, right there is the low pressure sodium lamp. I'll put a picture up of what it looks like before. Let's see. Maybe I don't have a picture of it before illumination. So what I have on the floor is a safety switch which I use with some of my projects so that I could turn it on with a foot switch. And here we go. I'm just going to turn this thing on. Let's watch what happens. I know it's a little blurry back here, but I'll show you a still picture a little later. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, there it goes. Now you'll notice that it fires up, and then at the bottom, it's almost like it's starting a fire. You know, different colors come out, and then it finally starts glowing, and then it actually takes a few minutes. I would say an honest 2 minutes before it settles down and starts producing a really nice, bright, uniform, monochromatic light. Yeah, it's coming together. So this guy is, you see it's getting brighter? So if we leave it on for a few minutes. So this is called a 35 watt low pressure sodium lamp. A tanning booth. Yeah, it's not putting out much UV in this flavor. It's pretty much what you see is what you get. And it doesn't get super hot. So this is a 35 watt bulb, but it's really spread out over a very big surface. Tucson mandated those in the 80s, says Mr. Tim Beattie. I hate them. Carl, I will talk to you about that in a second. So yeah, I hate them also from a color rendition point of view. They're terrible. Well, the reason they're terrible is because they're monochromatic. And the reason they were mandated in the 80s was, one of the reasons was it's easy to filter out that light if you're an astronomer. And these were causing light pollution. So it was easy to put a notch filter in to get rid of that light. When LEDs came along, all of that mandated stuff changed very much. Not necessarily for the better, but we'll talk about that. LED illumination, Carl, is not narrow enough bandwidth. So we want, really narrow, truly monochromatic, if you can get it. Of course, there's no such thing. But, laser is the best of all of them, because the laser is a resonant system, and it's generating a monochromatic source. Low pressure sodium is good because it has a very strong line, emission line, and there's the color. It's that yellowish stuff, and all the other emission lines are kind of far away and lower in intensity. So that's why we like low pressure, but nobody likes low pressure sodium anymore, except for some of the darkroom applications. So this wavelength can be used with materials that are not sensitive to that wavelength in a darkroom. And Mr. Tim Beattie says because of Kit Peak. Yeah, and others. Let's see. Did I get? Yeah. So I'm just gonna I'm keeping my foot on the switch. This is not warm. Okay. This is just barely warm. So from a temperature management point of view, it looks like it's going to be nice. The light has now, it's been on long enough now that it has smoothed out and gotten brighter. Do you notice that it looks a lot brighter than it was? This is going to be hard for the camera to show you, but it's working out really well. So that's a single 35 watt lamp, and I'll show you a picture of it here with a little more detail. And there's a single power supply. I might end up with two of them. So I'll have two lamps, two power supplies, parallel them up and go off to 110 volts for supply. But that's it. That's the first light live on the air of the low pressure sodium lamp for our experiments. Now, another funny thing that happened, I went to take a picture of this thing. And if you know how when you take a picture of a light source, you frequently have glare? Well, the glare had fringes. This thing wants to make fringes like right now. So I'm very excited about it. Carl says it can't be warm or it will absorb its own light. Yeah, I was wondering why I felt like I went back in time a little bit, Carl. But you're right. It's doing really nicely. The one thing I don't like is that these sockets that they ship for these lamps, it is not a firm, nice locking socket. So I'm going to have to add some support for the bulb in my final design, which is not a big deal. And again, because the bulb isn't getting crazy hot, it shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to turn it off now, and then I'll bring up a picture of the same thing I took earlier. Oh, there it is. So, by the way, that little trick of using a foot pedal switch to turn on an experimental apparatus is a really good trick if something goes south. Because you could just, I don't know, roll away from the apparatus and it will immediately turn itself off. Let's see. Yeah, Unix says it's a great trick because your leg gets shocked and not your hand. Hopefully nothing gets shocked, but you know. So here's what it looks like when it's not far away. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. There's the power supply, that aluminum box, and it does take a 3-wire input. So there is a ground wire as well as the neutral and the line. There's the outlet on not outlet, but the socket on the bottom, which is double sticky taped to that tray. Very unsatisfying connection to the bulb, which I'm going to have to research a little bit, but it does work. And then there's where that's the bulb. And like I said, it was just the funniest thing. The funniest thing was that the glare, it's not in this photo, but the glare was making fringes. So it wants desperately to be making fringes. More on this later. This was not super expensive. I don't have the numbers at the tip of my tongue. And it is throwing off quite a bit of light. I think the only reason I think I may go to 2 bulbs is I want to put the 2 bulbs on either side of the camera just for uniform illumination. And then there'll be some sort of a diffuser in front of them. So there you go. First light of the low pressure sodium lamp. And I'm very excited about getting that going. We've come a long way from a ping pong ball and a laser. Which, by the way, if you want to get something going fast, and you buy a 3-inch optical flat off of eBay, and you go buy a laser, a so-called rifle laser, for $30 off of Amazon, and a ping pong ball, and just tape the ping pong ball in front of the laser. Just no holes, no nothing. Just tape a ping pong ball in front of it. What happens is the laser will hit the ping pong ball, and it'll act like a diffuser. And then the other side of the ping pong ball will act like another diffuser. And you'll have a lovely little lamp that, in a dark lab, you can do close work with. It doesn't put out a ton of power, 5 milliwatts, 10 milliwatts. And that's actually, I'll just go say 5 milliwatts. We could argue about that later. Carl says, did you get a higher wattage LPS lamp? So this is a 35 watt. I had also purchased from the same manufacturer a 55 watt, and I returned it. And the reason is that in the top of the lamp, it's a little hard to see, but the glass inner tube, the small tube that has a U shape to it, has a little protrusion at the top. And then there's a mica insulator which captures that, and then is touches the ID of the big envelope of the glass. Okay, so that it has a little bit of motion to it. It's not rigidly held, which sort of makes sense from a thermal expansion point of view. Well, the 55 watt one was beating the crap out of the mica insulator, and it literally had beat itself to a much larger size, and it wasn't so. I didn't like anything about it, so I decided to go to the 35 watt, which is what this is. And my reasoning is that it would be a lighter mass, and it wouldn't be banging around so much, and would probably give me plenty of light. As it turns out, all of those assumptions were correct. The downside is I had to get it, return everything and get new power supply sized for the 35 watt lamp and get a 35 watt lamp. This time I only bought one because I just wanted to see if it was okay. I think it's okay. So I just got to work out the socket thing and make sure I didn't get the wrong socket or I'm using it wrong or whatever. But I'm generally pretty happy with this setup, and we'll see what happens. But when I saw the fringes surrounding the glare in the lens system of the camera, it was very funny. So I think we're going to be okay. Let's see. So that's a little bit of an update there. I want to get that project finished. I have to finish a lapping job in the 6-inch category. So those things are now moving ahead, and I would like to get a check mark in the old logbook. So that's the lock story. And I think you're pretty caught up on what's going on at Kinetic Precision. Does anybody have any community notes or any announcements or anything that I would have otherwise missed? Please share them, and we will pass them along. Another thing that I did this week, which has been floating around in my head, I had made a while ago. I had made these 3D printed 3x5 file card holders. Okay. And in fact, if you were sitting where I'm sitting, you'd see they're on top of the monitors. So I could put a card on top of the monitor to remind me of whatever. And I like these. I live on 3x5 file cards. So I got out my design for the 3x5 file card holder, and I added a few features and made a few adjustments. This is 11 inches long, and it turns out there's a good reason for it. Oh yeah, let's talk about that, Dale. Once you get yourself set up, can I bring you in on audio? We'll talk about that a little bit. I added magnets on the back, so now this thing could be double sticky taped down like it is on top of my monitor. It could be magneted to a surface like I did on my mic stand here. It's a little hard to see because it's black on black. And it's a pretty cool design. So I took a whiteboard. I guess that's a 2x3 foot whiteboard, and I did several rows of these card holders. And I'm going to be organizing for my projects. In particular, there's some videos that need to get made, and I'm going to start brainstorming those videos with my idea board, and then eventually that turns into an outline for the video, and then we could start making the video. And I know some of you are thinking, well, why don't you just do this in software? Why don't you just use a spreadsheet? Or why don't you use like Trello? I used to use Trello, and there's some other ones out there. There is a huge difference between a physical card that you could scribble notes on, or draw a picture on, or you do some math on, and a piece of software like Trello or like a spreadsheet. It's just a different animal. And I find that especially when, forgive my use of this word, ideating, I think 3x5 cards are, used in this fashion is the way to go. Another thing you could do is you could use a 2x3 foot whiteboard with sticky notes, Post-it notes. And that's fine also. I think it's more expensive because of Post-it notes. And I think it's more complicated than it needs to be. So I'm going to stick with the 3x5 file cards. This sounds like such a trivial, tiny little detail project that is unimportant. But I'm here to tell you, it's important. It's a tool that's going to help me get through some of these projects, and there are unfortunately too many of them. Okay, we're going to bring in Dale on audio here because he had an interesting situation, which I thought we could learn from. Dale from Edmonton, Alberta. Hello, you're on the air. How are you?
Hello.
So you recently got an order for some parts for one of your clients, and it was made out of an interesting material. So tell us a little bit about that.
That's just a nickel alloy, or alloy 600. One of the flavors of what's commonly referred to as an Inconel.
Okay, so I think Inconel is a common word. So under that category, that's a trade name. So that would be, so there's other companies that are going to be making a similar alloy. How many different flavors of that alloy are there? Is there many or just, a handful?
Many. Dozens.
Evils.
Dozens. And then there's some specialty ones too.
Yeah, Evil says that he can't hear you, but I think that's a Discord problem. Let's see. Is anybody else on Discord not hearing Dale? Bill says he could hear him. Scott says no audio. Unix says he could hear him.
It's an Evil's issue.
Yeah, so let's just wrap this up. So a nickel alloy, so it's basically a steel with a very high level of nickel in it.
No.
And
there's no iron in it to speak of.
There's
virtually no iron.
Okay, interesting. So what's the characteristic of alloy 600?
Well, all of the nickel alloys, it's for corrosion at super high temperatures, corrosion and strength at elevated temperatures.
So
with different herbs and spices dictate, those properties.
So what's a typical operating temperature for this stuff that makes it cool?
Thousands of degrees.
That's amazing.
Several thousand degrees. Yeah.
So
so these parts I'm making are going to be tube plugs in a reactor or a glycol plant.
Okay. Wow. So you're making.
So to explain that, the tubes in a reactor heat exchanger, there's circuits, and these can have hundreds to thousands of circuits in one exchanger, right? And some of the tubes that are the more exposed tubes will corrode through due to the temperature and all of that. And so what they do is, rather than retubing the whole boiler, they'll just plug off the circuits that are corroded through or very close to corroded through. And that way they can avoid retubing the entire boiler or heat exchanger.
I gotcha. I always wondered,
because you can plug off a certain amount of them, and then your efficiency gets too low, and then it's not worth it. Then you retube the boiler.
Got it. Because you've always called them tube plugs, and I don't think I ever really stop to think of why they're called tube plugs.
Yeah.
So a couple of 1,000 degrees operating temperature, and the melting point of mild steel is what, 2,700 Fahrenheit. So basically, this stuff would be still kicking right along while steel is dripping. Am I getting that right?
Not quite, but yep, pretty close.
How does it machine?
Terrible.
So what do you?
Slowly and difficultly.
So it's all carbide.
Oh yeah, or ceramics.
Yeah. Okay. And this stuff is more than $1 a pound.
More than $1 a pound. Yes. This stuff I just bought, I had to buy a lot of it because it's a lot of plugs. Is like $60-something a pound.
Wow. I've had some steaks that were almost that expensive.
$62, $61-ish a pound. Yeah.
And this is all lathe work?
Correct.
Just kidding. We don't have any lathe prejudices here. Let's see. Dave says, I went to an auction in Wapakoneta, Ohio, about 15 years ago. 3 guys were bidding on metal baskets. Bids were north of $10,000. I asked why the high bid. It was all Inconel.
Yes.
Wow. I guess I need a piece of Inconel just to hold it in my hand and say, this is Inconel. We'll have to talk about that.
You do have it. It's that wire that I sent you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's right. I forgot about that. So Dale had sent me this welding rod that was in that family.
601 or 602.
That sounds familiar.
One of those.
Yeah, and I used it as a bracket to hold the the machinist flat in heat treating, and the heat treating temperatures, it just laughed. It's like, yeah, whatever. And that was a great tool. Okay, I do have some. Thank you so much. All right, Dale, thanks for sharing a little tidbit here. I don't think we all get exposed to some of the more interesting alloys, and we appreciate you. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Anybody else have any things that we need to touch on? We talked about that in the pre-show, and I wanted everybody to hear a little bit about that. So I'm out of updates because I haven't been doing much. Let's see. Scott says we atomized some at a past job for 3D printing. It's hell on saw blades. I would imagine. Holy cow. So yeah, nickel is pretty is pretty amazing stuff, and we don't tend to use very high nickel alloys in our everyday stuff. Dave says they were using it for heat treating planer blades. Okay. Well, there's a common thread right there. They also used it for valve seats and exhaust valves. That makes a lot of sense because of the high temperature performance. See, I learn a lot of things. That's why I come here. Mr. Warren Jones is typing. Oh, look at that. So Warren, let's see if I can, if you look in the chat, Warren is using some 4-inch round stones. Those are the aluminum oxide 4-inch round stones from Kinetic Precision on a Lucas. What kind of machine is that, Warren? Is that a lathe or a or other? horizontal boring mill. Can I bring you in on audio, Warren? All right. There we go. Mr. Warren Jones. You're live on the air, sir. How are you?
Doing well, and you?
I'm doing great. You're working on a Lucas horizontal boring mill. Is this your machine or is this
Yeah, I'm fine.
Is this your machine?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I've been sitting outside for a couple of years while I was getting the shop built, and it just needs a little tune up and
It looks
go back together.
It looks pretty clean. How big is this thing?
Yeah,
How big is this?
it's just it's a 3-inch spindle, so it's not a real big machine. Table looks to be like 48 by say 28, something like that.
So 48 is the major length.
That's the width of it. Yeah.
Neat. And so what kind of boring work are you going to do?
Very lucrative, I hope.
Boring yet lucrative.
They're fixing the linkages and stuff on heavy equipment repair.
Oh, yeah.
So I do it a lot with a portable boring bar, but if you could just clamp it to a right angle block, kind of get it straight, it'd go much faster with the boring mill.
That is very cool. I did get the opportunity to see Warren's setup at one of his clients. In the what would you call that? On-site or portable boring?
Yeah, portable boring bar.
And this is going to be very cool. How do you like the 4-inch rounds?
Oh, I love those things for machine tables. They're awesome.
Yeah, that's what I recommend for people if they're just doing lots of tables or lots of big flats. Is that they get the rounds.
You know, like I got a Bridgeport, take the vise off, and it gets banged up a little bit when you just touch it off with one of those with a 4-inch round. Moves it right up, takes off any nicks, put the vise back on, and you're good to go.
Excellent. You're the best commercial ever. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll catch you later.
See ya.
Okay. Anybody else have some news? Who had stories this week? I guess that's about it. So, well, I think we'll wrap it up a little early today because to make up for all the times we wrapped it up 20 minutes late. And right now, the schedule upcoming, I'm just bringing up the calendar here, is, I think, reasonably normal. Next weekend and the weekend after that seem pretty normal. Next Saturday is Valentine's Day, if you know what's good for you. And that's it. So we should have a pretty normal run of PFG Lives coming up ahead of us. If anybody has any questions, needs, wants, desires, shoot me a DM or an email, and we'll try to get that addressed. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. I particularly appreciate everybody who has become a customer of Kinetic Precision. You guys are awesome. I can tell you that in the last month, some PFG Stones have ended up in some very interesting places. I could use the words quantum computing. That was a pretty good one, and some other places. So we will keep making them flat if you keep placing the orders. I promise. In the meantime, get flat, stay flat, and we'll see you guys next week.